Hey, Queen. Are you wondering what are the advantages of being a woman in business? Are you a woman in business right now, or are you looking to pursue entrepreneurship and you're looking at what are the distinct advantages that I might have or differentiators that might support me in the success of my business? If so, stay until the end of this video because today we're going to talk about those advantages and how you can leverage them to your benefit. I am the founder of the Big Money Movement, where we work with women in business to land 5- and 6-figure corporate clients. And for the past several years, I have trained thousands of women in business. Now, my experience myself, my background is in sales and as a consultant. And candidly, I've always been a woman who has worked in male-dominated fields. So for the majority of my career, I was always working with men and in those type of fields. And I have to say, as a misnomer, I loved working with men. So if you know me, I get along with the guys just great. So I am not someone who's working with women because I just have issues with men or anything like that. I enjoyed, and a lot of my growth and development and my initial mentors and coaches were men. And so I was used to that map of the world. But I also found it interesting that, as someone who was oftentimes only in the room, I often felt isolated, and I would talk to other women who felt the same. And I realized that as someone who was oftentimes the only in the room, there was a unique perspective that I brought to those rooms. And that unique perspective was also my secret sauce or my distinct advantage is that I have a different map of the world. I have a different background. I have different experiences. And thus I'm able to bring those experiences to the forefront. And for many of the women that I serve through the Big Money Movement, we are like a room full of onlys. So most of us were women who come from male-dominated fields, or we have a background or experience where we were the only person who looked like us during the majority of our career. And the advantage of that is that you have a unique perspective. You see differently than those around you. There's a book that I love that's called Originals, right? And it's a book that talks about when you are an original, when you're someone who has a different viewpoint from others, how you're able to challenge the status quo because you're not drinking the same Kool-Aid as everyone else. And I think that's a distinct advantage of being a woman in business. Not only does being the only in a room give you a unique perspective that you can leverage as an advantage as a woman in business, but also the trauma, the challenges that we've been through. When we can process the trauma and get the lessons from that, I think it creates just an advantage for us. Let me say this another way. So what I distinctly remember is I had a massive opportunity with the firm. It was the type of opportunity at the time where I felt like it was like a lottery ticket. It was working with someone that was a celebrity in my space, and I was going to be partnering with this leader intimately and working alongside of them. And I thought the reputation from working with this leader is going to magnify my career in countless ways. And so I was just committed to making this partnership work. But when I started working with this leader, I quickly learned it was a toxic environment. And I remember being so frustrated because I just wanted to make it work. And I was doing all of this introspection and trying to grow myself and trying to identify who I needed to be and how I needed to evolve in order for this to be a healthy relationship. But no matter what I did, it was just a toxic relationship, period.
That's disgusting.
And I'll never forget, there was one circumstance where I felt like this leader had completely humiliated me in a room full of leaders, and we were out of town, and I literally just went to the bathroom and I was bawling, right? I was so disheartened. I was embarrassed. I'd been humiliated. I was feeling the shame. I also was like, oh my gosh, if I burn this bridge, is this going to be like career suicide for me? Where do I go from here? Because so many people just had public facing, this leader had a very powerful presence, but I don't think a lot of people knew behind closed doors how this leader showed up. I called one of my best friends. I'm in the bathroom, and it's like one of those moments where I needed someone to coax me out of the out of the bathroom. I'm like, I'm already humiliated. I don't want anyone to see that I'm over here crying like a baby in a bathroom stall. I need someone to help me change my attitude, fix my face, and walk out of this bathroom stall with my with my confidence intact. And so my girlfriend said, she said, one day you're going to look forward and you're going to have a firm of your own. And the reason why you're going to be such an effective leader is because you're going to take this experience and make sure no one under your leadership ever feels like this. And at the moment, it was one of the things that helped me, but I just wasn't there. I wasn't visioning my own firm at that time. But it proved to be true. And now, as I lead my firm and my business, I am so intentional about how I lead people. I care so much about the people that I serve. I think anyone who works for me in my organization, it's an honor. I know as a single mother how much sacrifice I made to work in my career. I was in sales at the time. I was a single mother. I was working my tail off as a top performer. And I sacrificed some of the most important moments in my daughter's life so that I could work and, have a roof over our head and to be able to provide for us. And so now that I'm on the other side of the fence as a woman in business, one of the advantages I have is the empathy, the understanding, the respect, the honor for the fact that human beings, especially in the US economy, they spend more time at work than they often spend with their loved ones or people that they care about or the things that they might be passionate about. And so the experiences I've had as a woman in corporate have been helped to lend to how I lead as a woman in business and the empathy that I show. And at the end of the day, when you're leading a business, people are what fuel businesses. And so the more effective you are as a leader, the more effective you'll be as a woman in business. Speaking of empathy, it's so funny. Like sometimes I feel like, gosh, I was just born in the wrong generation. So many things that are like common knowledge now. I'm like, where was that 20 years ago when I was getting all my corporate trauma? But nowadays, everyone seems to have the memo that empathy and leadership and EQ are so important. But that was not the narrative when I was in corporate America. So when I was in corporate America, it just seemed like there was this stuffy view. Like there was this view of what a leader looked like. And it often felt like, it was an authoritative personality type who just told people what to do and disciplined them to make sure that they were meeting KPIs and metrics. And that was the culture that I was brought up or groomed for in corporate America. But nowadays, I don't know, humanity is finally getting it together. So nowadays it's like, oh, a leader is empathetic and they have servant leadership and they listen to people and they coach people and they bring out the best in people. And as a woman, and I think this is for human beings, like I said, this is a love letter for my fellows too, but as women, oftentimes as the nurturers of society, or we are conditioned in society that our role as women are to listen, to nurture, to empathize, to coax. And now we're finally in a day and age where those are the very qualities of leadership that are hailed and praised and applauded. So this is your opportunity as a woman to leverage those things that come naturally to you, or those skill sets that have been cultivated or that you've been held to a standard of developing, and now leverage those same natural skill sets to grow as a woman in business. So I think empathy, taking the bad from our experiences and learning how to be more effective leaders are all of the things that are our advantages today. I also will say at the time of this video, when we look like from a PR standpoint, there is a lot of attention right now at empowering marginalized communities or those who have been, historically looked past. And so there's a lot of attention right now on women in business. We as women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs. During the pandemic, women accounted for 100% of the job losses, which is mind-blowing and actually pretty sad when we think about it. But the opportunity it creates is now there are so many women who have left the workforce who are looking for a different way to do business. And there are organizations that are looking at, oh my gosh, we've lost all these women. How do we improve our culture? How do we do business differently so that we can attract and bring these women into the workforce? But as a woman in business, you don't have to come up with formulas or models to figure out what was wrong with business as usual that, deterred so many women. Because you have that experience, now you can create a culture and you have a distinct advantage as a small business to grow teams. I am a very small business, but when I look at our dream team, when I look at the women who work alongside of me, I know it's not because I'm able to offer them the highest salary and that I can compete with the benefits of a Fortune 500 company. The brilliant women who decide to work with me and join our team at the Big Money Movement, they do it not only because of the culture we create, but because of the mission. They're bought in with the mission. And that's the advantage you have as a woman in business, is to grow small but mighty and to walk the talk. And thus you'll be surprised by how many women who are over fighting for paycheck or over worried about salary equity and the pay gap. And they just want to work somewhere where they feel like they're included, they belong, and they're going to do great work. And that's the type of culture environment that you have the chance right now to create. I want to hear from you. What are ways that you find yourself having an advantage as a woman in business? If you're looking for strategies to land 5 or 6-figure corporate clients as a woman in business, make sure you go to thebigmoneymovement.com and sign up for our advanced masterclass. Or if you're just looking for language to attract executive buyers, you can download our proven scripts at corporateclientscripts.com. This is LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement. My passion, my mission is to empower women just like yourself to grow your business. Let's get this big money together and make big money moves. Obviously, I'm passionate about and love talking about what it means to be a woman in business. So I have this other video you should check out now that talks about being a woman in business. Hey ladies, I know you see that video. That's just for you. Click that video right now. Ladies, stand up.